Alright, YouTube, you probably saw, courtesy of WikiLeaks yet again, Bill Clinton apparently got a $1 million Clinton Foundation donation in 2012 for his birthday from Qatar, which is funny because, of course, Qatar sponsors ISIS, and Clinton was aware of this. They also donated, I think, a total of 5 to 10 million over time. The Saudis donated 25 million. It's very funny to see her praising regimes that she knew years ago were involved with actually sponsoring terrorism. Kind of denigrates from her line about caring about women's issues, gay rights, human rights in a general sense. The only reason why this isn't completely crushing her candidacy, yet, by the way, all of these various leaks, calling Podesta talking about needy Latinos, calling Bill Richardson a dick, all of the problems with Bill Clinton as well as Hillary through the Clinton Foundation especially. The only reason why this hasn't utterly decimated her candidacy, in any other year she'd be at 0% by now, is because the mainstream media refuses to talk about it. There's such a high amount of disproportionate coverage of the relatively small scandals involving Trump, specifically the idea of his foundation not actually being able to take donations as a non-profit because it failed to file the right paperwork. That's basically the biggest one that they've got. These allegations of sexual misconduct are basically just the equivalent of like Bill Clinton's crap. So essentially in any other election cycle, Clinton would be done. The only reason she's not yet is she's having her ass covered for by the entire media apparatus, the legacy media, the TV media, which still, for older generations, it still provides news to more than half the population. The under 30s, no. Social media. People who are Gen Xers, disproportionately lean towards the internet media, although some of them still primarily pay attention to TV, I suppose. But they're losing steam quite quickly. The legacy media is dying, and if nothing else, regardless of what happens in this election, the media has pissed away all of its credibility to the point at which the legacy media is basically toast. It's sort of the death knell. This is sort of their last go-around, and I guess they want to grab up as many donations from Clinton, as many political kickbacks as possible, because they know that by the next election cycle they won't be relevant at all. Like they won't even be clinging to relevance at that point, except for their online content, which will continue to be completely dwarfed by any of thousands of other people. At this point, it's very funny to watch. But it's very funny to see Bubba Bill getting $1 million from the Qataris. I'm sure there were no strings attached from this. I'm sure it's not indicative of anything larger. We then find out Podesta, of course, owned, I think, 75,000 shares in a Russian firm. And then they want to talk about Trump potentially having ties to Russia when their campaign share apparently does. It's all very, very funny that some people aren't putting two and two together. That being said, it's already causing movement in the polls. You may not see it yet because we don't have polls from after several days of these leaks, but it's going to move the barometer, I think, quite steeply. I think people like Krauthammer are totally out of their element, as they have been throughout the entire campaign. People like Nate Silver, who always believed that Trump would crash and burn. I think they're wrong. I think they'll continue to be wrong. I think for the next few weeks, it's open season on Clinton as far as leaks are concerned. It will begin to degrade her support, regardless of how little coverage the legacy media gives to it. This is just yet another example of something corrupt going on with the Clintons, specifically through the Clinton Foundation. These leaks are not going away. They're not decreasing. They're getting more damaging. They're getting more numerous as well. You've now got not one but 3 different sources promising or supplying leaks. O'Keefe is supplying his tapes. A reminder, in a few days, when the week changes over, he's promising us basically the sacred cow of the Trump supporters, which would be Hillary Clinton on tape doing something so dastardly that people won't even talk about Trump's sexual exploits, so-called, which I still don't believe he was even involved in. I don't believe for a second that he has as much experience as he claims, because at the time that he was proclaiming to have it, he was already an older dude, let's face it. Now he's, almost geriatric, so is Clinton. It's very funny. It's also very funny to see the election continue to devolve into chaos. If nothing else, the chaos makes it worth it regardless of what happens. the Senate and the House. Whoever wins will have to contend with large swaths of their own party potentially standing in their way. I can't imagine Clinton will be able to get much accomplished without the handful of progressive Democrats in Congress on her side, and they're not on her side. And she'll have to woo them, and she'll have to contend with the Republicans to do so. So that's basically at least 2 years of a lame duck administration, probably 4. If Trump is elected, it's been made fairly clear that he's going to have to spend 2 years doing very little other than maybe appoint a Supreme Court nominee or two. And then after that, he'll have to wage a campaign against large segments of his own party to force them out of office in order to usher in people capable of working with him, at least within his own party. It'll be very funny. We're in for a rough 4 years, I think, regardless of what happens at this point. I also think, by the way, that the only true talking head, because he's paralyzed from the neck down in the world, Charles Krauthammer, is completely wrong when he complains about the way the election is being waged and predicts that it won't happen the next time around. No, I think it'll happen even more. I think because we've moved into the social media era, people have realized it no longer pays to be a traditional slimy politician with deep establishment roots who wines and dines corporations and banks, because anything they have done will come back to bite them. This precludes, by the way, a large majority of those within Congress or governors from ever even bothering to seek the office. Most of them are disqualified. They'll have even more problems than Clinton is having right now. And potentially the candidate running against them won't. It's the whistleblower election, and establishment candidates are not exactly at the helm anymore, all things considered. So yeah, it turns out that Bubba Bill got some money from the Qataris. Well, that's very funny, because years before that happened, they already knew that they were in bed with ISIS, yet they accepted their donations anyway, despite supposedly the Clinton Foundation's like, oh, we're for women's rights and gay rights, but, you know, half the money we're getting from regimes that kill these people regularly. Very, very strange that people don't find a problem with this more. That's about all. Peace out.